Greetings everyone, my name is Raziel and today we are taking a look at some of the final cards to be added to the game in the Inferno expansion. This time my reveals are all about the new Mechanicum cards. I'll be showing you 3 cards in total, including a new Warlord. Well, new, but you will see when we get there. With all that being said, let us take a look at the new cards and see if Holy Mars approves of them. First up, we have Kiari Castellax, a 5 energy vehicle with 4 attack, 6 HP, Vantage, as well as the 3 energy ability to deal 3 damage and stun a random enemy unit. Overall, a more than solid common. Has potential to be used as an anti-gym boss take even, however, costing 5 energy and having a 3 energy ability means that without energy manipulation you will need to play this card on 8 energy to be able to also use the ability, which is kind of expensive and often is too late into the game to have any reasonable impact. However, if you do have energy manipulation, I see no reason why this guy wouldn't be at least worth considering for your deck if you're looking for cards to help in gym boss matchups. Next up, we have the Kiari Thanata Cavis, an 8 energy vehicle with 7 attack, 8 HP, shield, as well as the relentless ability to deal 3 damage to all enemy units. On paper, this guy is quite strong. His relentless ability is pretty good, he has decent stats, and comes with a shield. All of these things are great to have, however, there is one thing that kind of ruins him: his cost. Being an 8 energy troop, simply having decent stats, shield, and a relentless ability is just not good enough to compensate for the limited number of high cost cards most decks are willing to run. The main issue here is that while strong, his relentless ability is simply too slow, requiring a turn of setup to trigger, which allows the enemy to potentially counteract Cavis. To make matters worse, one of the rivaling high-cost troops, the Raziel, can cleanly take out Cavis if the enemy can manage to get rid of his shield. With all that being said, if you can cheat this guy out early in the game, he can be devastating for your opponent, and he is a great card to get from the Mechanicum mission reward for sure. Finally, we have arrived at the last reveal for today. As I mentioned in the beginning, I have a new Warlord for you. Well, he is not exactly new. Having been a fan favorite ever since he was released, one of the Warlords with the biggest glow-ups in the game's history, presenting the new and improved Tacitus Proctor. Tacitus Proctor is a 2 attack, 35 HP Mechanicum Warlord with medium initiative. He also has the 2 energy ability to draw a vehicle from your deck and reduce its cost by 1, as well as the passive ability to give +1 HP to all vehicles you put in play. Overall, all of these components, the ability, the passive, are relatively well known in recently released Warlords, and don't get me wrong, these kinds of Warlords were all more than playable, some even broken. So I don't think that this new version of Proctor is bad by any means, at least not in terms of playability. What I will say though, in terms of flavor and uniqueness, the new Proctor is miles behind the old version. Let me explain. The old Proctor did something no other Warlord in the game did, at least not in the same way. Proctor was the only Warlord to put in play 2 troops with a single use of his ability. He also was one of the first Warlords to put in play troops with his ability in general that were available in the constructed game mode. The new Proctor has left all of these unique things that the player base loved about him behind. Now he is one of many card generation with an energy discount Warlords that has a buff every X you put in play passive. To be more specific, the new Tacitus Proctor is basically a fusion of Balthazar Dupain and Arkham Land. He has Dupain's passive and Land's active ability, just that he draws from the deck instead of creating a vehicle. And if this kind of fusion seems familiar to you, that is because we essentially already had one of those. Ebos the Onoi, reward for the Chaos Battle Pass, has already been a Warlord with a draw a troop ability and a passive that buff the HP of your troops. So Proctor himself is basically the 3rd iteration of the design formula for modern neutral Warlords in HHL. As I said, both these kinds of active and passive abilities have historically been pretty strong. But in terms of flavor, of uniqueness, they are boring, without any creativity in terms of design, and to be honest, almost make me as a player immediately lose interest in the Warlord because he's going to play just like all the other Warlords of the same design did, just with a different troop type depending on what his passive buffs. In short, good Warlord, disappointing design, at least in my personal opinion. And those are the 3 cards I had for you today. You know the drill, recap time. First, we saw a relatively standard common vehicle that may have some potential as a tech card against Gym-Boss Warlords. Then, we saw a scary, albeit high-cost vehicle with a strong Relentless. And lastly, we got to take a look at yet another Warlord created around the well-known schematics of buff every X you put in play and draw/create X and reduce its cost, this time carrying the name of our old friend Tacitus Proctor. What are your thoughts? Are you as disappointed in the new Tacitus Proctor as I am? Or do you perhaps think it is a good thing they went away from his old design? Let me know in the comments below. This ends my reveals. I am sorry for being such a downer regarding Tacitus Proctor, but I do feel like this direction of Warlord design is starting to take over the majority of the game, and it frankly pains me to see the game changing like this. But who knows? Maybe they are going to change the release version of Proctor a little, so maybe he regains some identity. Anyways, reveals are over. Thank you for your attention, and I will hopefully see you all again next time.